No, as a matter of fact, they're about 3 or 4.
Over, bent over, and looks like he probably executed right there. She was made to disrobe here.
Would this be that gang's area?
No, as a matter of fact, they're about 3 or 4 blocks out of the area.
Okay.
This type of a situation here with her being stripped down is a little unusual for the type of shootings that we normally would be investigating down here. They spent some time out here. That way it's another waste of...
The main thing is power. It's a struggle for power. And it's like in the old days, everybody wants to be on top, neighborhood or territory, and sort of the deputies jumping on you for about 10, 15. They're all nice and clean.
So they're out of their area and they...
The fact that they're out of the area and the tattoos and...
Female appears to be Caucasian, young, probably their mid to late teens. The male was roughly 14 to 16 years of age. He appeared to be Hispanic.
The gangs of LA will never die, just multiply colors. That sad story, that news clip I just played, that was from, I think, the early 90s when LA, South Central LA, was one of the most treacherous areas in the United States in terms of highest homicide rates. I know off the top of my head in 1993, for example, the 3 counties with the highest homicide rate for black males, we have the highest homicide rate of any sub-demographic in the U.S. was Wayne County, which is Detroit, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles County. They were all tied at the top of that dubious distinction, and I picked the year 1993 because that was the peak homicide rate in United States history. So that was apparently, I don't know what happened with that case. Looking at online comments, it was unsolved. 2 teenagers from a Hispanic gang walked into the Hoover neighborhood. Somebody took them out. The girl appeared to have been SA'd. Rough people. And there are still people that are living that extreme gang lifestyle left in Los Angeles. There's a lot less of them. The homicide rate, of course, is much lower, but right now there's a flare-up in gang violence in Southeast, which is, the rough area. There's been a bunch of activities. Loss of life. Now there's every other day it seems like there's someone in LA, so things could flare back up. I always got the feeling in LA like not that much was happening, but it was because people were avoiding each other. And of course during pandemic and all that time, everybody was getting money and etc. Streets have dried up, and tensions are probably high. Probably a lot of people were out of town before getting money. People are back around in the neighborhoods, and more things are happening. But the point of this story is to talk with you guys in the street to always remember, and I say this a lot, people are in the street for different reasons. I always thought and grew up was basically you in the street to get some money. But even my own behavior doesn't really reflect that when I was young. Some people are just in the street because you grew up in a chaotic household and neighborhood, and you are basically looking for trouble or to do something to hurt somebody. But as far as teenagers, as far as adults, you would think it would be about getting some money. But even that, if you're in one frame of mind and you're dealing with people in a different frame of mind, you could very easily, that's a leaf. You could very easily find yourself on the short end of a permanent stick. And case in point is a sad tale. And, just the police released the documents of this case, and there was a lot of coverage of it. And even though he wasn't a big rapper, there's a lot of media demand to show murdered rappers, so this was on Entertainment Tonight and all that.
That's what I always, wanted to do. That was my passion, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? But and then I started messing with exhibits, so, you know what I mean? So after that, that's what he really, like, introduced me to the industry.
Police are still searching for the suspect after taking off in what they believe was a dark-colored SUV. Police also say that Half Ounce was on the phone with his wife, who is pregnant with their fourth child, when the SUV pulled up and began firing.
This rapper Half Ounce was from neighborhood Piru. He was 32 years old. He was a guy, it was a little hard to understand. I think he was shot when he was young, then he was hit by a car and like it messed him up, but I mean, he was working and functioning. He wasn't like that messed up, but like you could tell he had been injured. So he was somebody who'd been shot, he'd been hit by a car, but he was starting to get some industry buzz, I guess. He was pretty ganged out. I don't know what really it was going to lead to, but he was well known and liked in LA at least, and he got a lot of coverage. And anyways, the police released all the documents, and it's just like the opening news clip of those two young people in an alley. This will give you a chilling and sobering understanding of, what playing around in the streets, or, in the case of playing around with some of these LA gang members. So Half Ounce hadn't been in any criminal trouble for like 10 years, since his early 20s. He had been injured a lot and all that. He was enrolled in college. He had his he had his burgeoning rap career going. He was married with several children, but he had his wife and the kids lived in one place, and he had another apartment in Koreatown. Koreatown is interesting. Koreatown's it used to be rough. Had a lot of gangs, MS-13, it had Korean gangs. It's been semi-gentrified. Like, there's a lot to do in Koreatown. There's a lot of restaurants, like activities, karaoke, axe throwing, all type of high-end ice cream. Like, there's a lot of fun stuff to do in Koreatown. There's a lot of reasonably, by LA standards, affordable apartment buildings. That it's not really the hood. So if you're a gang member from South Central, getting an apartment in Koreatown is, you don't have to be rich to move there, but at least it's away. But it's not that much away, because Crenshaw takes you right in to Koreatown. Crenshaw goes to Olympic, and then Koreatown kind of starts not too far past there. And so Half Ounce was doing something. Well, he was working at UPS, and apparently he was doing something other than working at UPS, because one day his mother, and this is in the documents, and everybody talks about, you shouldn't talk to the police and no snitching, but people's family give information to the police. Is that snitching? Did Half Ounce's mother snitch on the people that killed him when she gave a statement? So she said one day she needed to get a couple bucks from her son, and her son had his play brother. There you go with these fake relationships. That's another thing. All you young guys calling all these guys you hang with your brother, because you known them for 2 years and smoke a lot of weed with them. Brother is a strong word to call somebody. So he has his brother, his play brother, Anthony King, drive him to meet her at some strip mall or something, and he gives her some money. And his mother observed that her son had on a lot of expensive jewelry and had $50,000 to $60,000 in his pocket. She didn't. I don't know if the police asked her. She didn't give a reason why he would have had that kind of money, nor why he'd be riding around with it. So we really don't know the story. What we do know is later that day, because Half Ounce told his mother and others this, soon as they leave from his mother. Now, mind you, this guy, Anthony King, who he referred to as his play brother, were like brothers. He was Half Ounce was from neighborhood Piru. Anthony King's from the Blackstone. Not sure which of the two factions, but he's a guy that went to prison for armed robbery in 2005. Being friends with Rob, Guys I know that are drug dealers, they don't hang out with people that hit licks. Like, lick hitters can't be around real drug dealers. That's two different worlds. Burglar, people that break in cars, people don't want them around. Carjackers, people don't want them around for a reason. So this guy, he went to prison in 2005 for armed robbery. So this event happened in like 2022. He was still on parole. So he was probably someone who got in trouble in prison or whatever. He was still on parole. So half ounce might have been calling him like his brother, but you couldn't have been around him that much. The guy's been gone. So anyways, after they give his mother a couple $100, this guy wants to stop in his neighborhood. He wants to whip up in the jungles, that's the neighborhood that was in Training Day. It's a whole lot of apartment buildings. And it's still, I don't know how, it's not, nowhere in LA is as bad as it used to be, but there's still, stuff going on. It's not so much, if you're not in the gang world, it'll seem like nothing's going on, but if you are part of the demographic, there's stuff happening. Anyways, they pull up in an alley, and suddenly a gunman with 2 guns happens to run up on him and hits him for the money in his pocket. Now, I wouldn't be like, maybe was there a drug, did Anthony King tell him, we're gonna go get, let's see, what would that, 60,000 would buy you in 2022, that would probably get you 4 to 5 bricks a yay in LA at that time. It was cheap. Yeah. So he gives the guy the money, and if Half Pint wasn't already going to be suspicious, the gunman gets the money and turns to go, and Anthony King says, it ain't worth your life. Give him your jewelry too. Like, they damn near got to call the guy with the guns back to be like, take my jewelry too. So immediately, Half Ounce, of course, this all plays out on social media, talking crazy to each other. And one night, Half Ounce is on the phone with his wife, mother of his multiple children. She lives somewhere else safe. He's pulling up in his Mercedes. Now, mind you, he works at UPS, but he's got 2 apartments. He's supporting 3 kids and a wife. He pulls up in his Mercedes in Koreatown with his boy, but they're not paying attention, but the cameras are. Now, that's another to connect this to the 2 young people lost their lives in the clip at the beginning. That was never solved, I don't think. And you see, back then there was no cameras. It's just 2 dead people in an alley. They barely were using DNA. They were, but it was really just getting... Remember, the first time we all heard about DNA in a crime scene was OJ. So I think they were using it before that, but it was just getting started. So it was a whole different... If they didn't have physical evidence or a witness... But in the case of Half Ounce, it all plays out on a camera. The police got a camera from some building. Half Ounce and them pull up in the car. The SUV does a U-turn. But Koreatown, it's all apartment buildings. There's a lot of cars. There's a lot going on. You're not really going to be suspicious. Think of, if you haven't been to LA, but you have been to like New York or something, most of LA, it's not like Manhattan, obviously, but the population density of a lot of LA is like being in Brooklyn or Queens. Like, it's a lot of small apartment buildings, a lot of houses jammed close together. There's like a lot of people on each block in most parts of LA. Koreatown is damn near like being in Manhattan. Koreatown might have the highest population density in the city. Someone gets out of the car, Half Pint walks up, they hit him, and so when the police, kind of sad, the details when you read police reports, the responding officer, they have shots fired. He goes to the front door of the apartment building, and he sees a pair of what he thinks are black boots just laying in the grass, like in a behind a plant or something. And he thinks they're just laying there, and he taps them. He's like, oh, like that's a person's foot, and maybe he thought it was a homeless person, but it's half ounce. He's been blown off his feet into the planter or whatever. And the murder investigation begins. Of course, they immediately just look at the social media. It did take them a good year, I think, or some months to arrest the guys. Probably it took them that time to find the right cameras.
Arrests have been announced in the shooting death of a local rapper. 2 men have been charged with murder in the death of rapper Half Ounce back in October. Anthony King and Dennis Rissinger were arrested last week. The FBI and LAPD Fugitive Task Force found them at different locations in Long Beach.
I did another story about the guy, Iceman from Rolling 40s. He's locked up right now, charged with some type of murder for hire right in the Staples Center at the soul food restaurant. Accused of running in there and shooting a guy right at the bar, a teacher that they don't know why, So like I said, there's less gang activity, but of the guys that are hardcore gang members, like, a lot of them are rough guys, especially the older ones. Like, they're into robbery and killing and assault. So, Half Ounce had been going on social media saying this guy set him up to be robbed, and they go back and forth. And then the guy, Anthony King, he starts sending Half Ounce pictures of like his mother's apartment, like letting them know we gonna get real serious, nothing's off limits. Apparently Half Ounce had said, I'm gonna kill him. He told somebody he was gonna kill him, and there was one of the last texts Half Ounce got, or some text he got not long before he was killed, said, never tell somebody you're gonna kill them, and don't do it. Because Half Ounce he may have realized it ain't worth it or whatever, and at least squashed. He tried to, unless that was fake, that might have just been a ploy, but he sent text messages like, forget it, don't worry about it. He said on social media, I think he tried to just let it go. But Anthony King, apparently, now he has not been convicted, but Anthony King and another guy named Dennis Rissinger were taken into custody for doing the hit. All over 60 grand. So mind you, Anthony King, so 60 grand plus the jewelry. So you had the guy in the alley that did the stick up, then the guy that drove him to do the homicide. So you're splitting up. Well, the guy that drove him probably do the homicide, the money was probably long gone by then. He probably didn't get nothing. He just was doing it because that was his boy. So he had to split the money with the stick-up guy. And if you know anything about street stick-up game, that's the worst. You have a guy stick somebody up, he apt to not give you your cut. You know how many people have fallen out over that? Me and you go rob somebody and get some money, and I keep too much, or I'm the one who's supposed to come rob your cousin, and then we gonna meet up later, and I give you half, and we never meet up later. Now you're out to kill me. Like, listen, if someone will do something real shady and foul to anybody, they'll do it to you. I ain't talking about out of necessity, like they killed or something out of necessity. I'm talking about someone that was set up. Like, if I'm comfortable enough to ride around with you, I don't know why you'd be riding around $50,000. I must think you're my pretty damn good friend. If you would, like, and then that's another thing. Like, you gotta really, do you have the skill of discernment? It's a biblical word, discernment. Can you discern really what someone's feelings and intentions toward you are? Because in this, if you're running around the streets, quote unquote, breaking a law to make money or whatever you're doing, you better, or else you end up like Half Ounce. So Anthony King and Dennis Rissinger have not been convicted. They're not in California Department of Corrections. I would imagine they're in the LA County Jail awaiting their trial. Those murder cases can take years. We saw with Draco. YNW Melly's been in for like 7 years in Florida. I mean, he's going on trial and all that, but so they're sitting in the LA County Jail. So we'll see what happens. Either way, the police documents paint a sad story, but people's lives diverge. Half ounce, whatever he was doing, he was getting money. This other guy spent his life in jail for robbing, and that's all he knew. So you better watch out who you call your brother. The gangs of LA will never die, so be careful. LA, big city of dreams. Our prophet American dope, you know what it means.